Hello dear viewers, and welcome to a new edition of the Daily Debate. Tonight we'll be talking about the key tourism industry here in Egypt and the tourism strategy which is seeking to double the size of the country's long established key tourism sector, and we'll be doing that with Dr. Atef, the tourism expert and the holder of the Sustainable Heritage Tourism, PhD in Sustainable Heritage Tourism. Very good evening to you, Dr. Amr.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening, dear viewers. First, Adhan al-Isha, the call for the night prayer, and then we'll come back and start our program. And welcome back to today's debate. That was the night prayer call, Adhan al-Isha. We're discussing here the key tourism sector in Egypt, which plays a very important role in the economic and social development of the country. It's a major source of foreign exchange, of course, for the country. It contributes to creating direct and indirect jobs and increases, of course, national income, in addition to its role in stimulating investment and developing new touristic and new urban areas. We'll be doing that, discussing this issue in the company of our dear guest, Dr. Atef, the tourism expert and holder of PhD in Sustainable Heritage Tourism. But as always, Dr. Amr and dear viewers, first a report about our main topic, and then we'll come back and start our Q&A session.
Egypt's new tourism strategy 2024 seeks to double the size of the country's long-established tourism sector by eliminating obstacles and sightseeing opportunities. The name Egypt is already associated with exotic traveling in the minds of many Westerners. Being such a high-profile destination has naturally contributed to the economy. The sector has created direct employment for around 10% of the population. In terms of foreign exchange revenue, over $12 billion flows toward Egypt, with the 15 million tourists who visit the country each year. The industry also accounts for 10 to 15% of the GDP. The Ministry of Tourism hopes to close the year with over 15 million arrivals, based on a 33% increase in the number of arrivals, which have been reported in 2023, and is contemplating a big boost across the hospitality and travel sector. Moreover, the Ministry of Tourism looks forward for another 20 to 30% growth, expressing hope to even raise the number of visitors to over 30 million by 2028. Such a significant improvement cannot happen without a well-structured roadmap. The ministry, with the help of other stakeholders in the sector, has put together just such a document, the National Tourism Strategy. Launched in November 2022, the strategy document sets out to achieve its ambitious objective of doubling inbound tourism through tripling the seat capacity of flights to and from Egypt in a joint effort with the Ministry of Aviation. Secondly, the 2022 strategy seeks to enhance tourists' experience if archaeological sites, museums and other landmarks create convenient products for frequent independent travelers, improve the investment environment and encourage investment in room capacity. The inauguration of the Grand Egyptian Museum, the GEM, in 2023 was certainly a step toward enriching Egypt's offerings in terms of cultural heritage. Also known as the Museum of Giza, the GEM is constructed just 2 kilometers away from the pyramids to showcase some 100,000 artifacts dating back to various periods of the Egyptian civilization. This museum is in many ways unique in the world. The Grand Egyptian Museum is deemed as the largest museum in the world that includes antiquities of one civilization. The fact that the GEM exclusively showcases artifacts from Egypt and still manages to be one of the largest museums in the world is indicative of the country's rich cultural heritage. Meanwhile, the large amount of investment in the GEM's construction is indicative of the tourism industry's confidence in attracting visitors in the short term. The visa policies were further relaxed in 2020, which significantly facilitated the process of inbound tourism. Arrivals from countries with a sizable emerging middle class, such as China in particular, can help Egypt achieve its target of 30 million tourists in the near future.
Welcome back, and thank you, Manal Al-Ibyari, for this report. We're here with tourism expert Dr. Amr Atef. Dr. Atef, how do you see the government's efforts in trying to boost the tourism sector? Infrastructure investments regarding tourism, the new museums that are being inaugurated, including GEM, which is already being described as the biggest cultural city in the world and not just the biggest museum. Yes. The facilitations and the incentives that it gives to investors in this field. How do you see these efforts?
The government is working hard, the Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities are working hard to enhance tourism and to increase the number of travelers who come to Egypt. The travelers who come to Egypt now are not like the travelers that used to come to Egypt in the past. No, they come now to Egypt to see new Egypt, see the new museum, the GEM, as you kindly mentioned, and to see the museums that has been opened. We have more than 40 museums all over the country, and the travelers come to see this and to come to see new Egypt. They also did lots of facilitation, including the way they enter the sites. In the past, they had to have cash to buy the admission tickets. Now, they can pay by credit card, and only pay by credit card all over the country. I mean, so that's a good
There
step.
were visa facilitations as well.
Yes, visa facilitations.
For visitors from many countries in the world.
Yes, and that's amazing, and it helped boosting tourism, as a matter of fact.
Okay. Regarding the museums, the efforts in the museum sector, how do you see it, and especially GEM?
Well, the museums, I mean, people come to see the GEM, and they have been asking about the GEM for the last 3 years, 4 years. I mean, they come and they say, we want to see the GEM, is the GEM opened or not? So they come to see the GEM, and it's going to be the largest museum that has a collection from one civilization in one place. 100,000 artifacts are all from Egypt. It's like a kingship museum, and the way it's built that makes the pyramids in the background. I mean, it's built, and people are going to see the artifacts as if they are standing out there in the desert, and the pyramids is in the background. So that's a big move. I mean, having the GEM opened, and people really, the feedback we get from the GEM is very positive, and people can't wait to see the inauguration, the full inauguration of the GEM, because the GEM is now opened for the visitors, but limited editions are allowed, I mean, the access, but eventually when it's open, people can't wait for the inauguration. Right. Which will be soon, inshallah.
Inshallah. Now, we're seeing some good numbers regarding the number of visitors, the official number laid out of visitors in the first half of the year 2024. We're talking about 7.1 million. Yeah, so...
that's huge.
Yeah, and the target is 15 million.
15 million a year.
Yeah.
Now, we were seeing a big move, I mean, because of the facilitations, as you mentioned, that the government and the Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities are doing to encourage people to come and visit Egypt. People come to see new Egypt and the discoveries that has been taking place. There were lots of discoveries, and lots of archaeological sites had been revealed. So I think people come to see that, and it's this Instagrammic tour that they like. They want to come and take a picture, and in a blink of of an eye, they just post the picture on Facebook or on or Twitter or Instagram. So I call this Instagramic tourism. People come to see new Egypt and not the Egypt of their grandparents or their or their parents. So that increased the number. People like to see the new things. I mean, I've been working in the field of tourism for 30 years, and 30 years, and I've seen people, different kind of clientele that are coming now to Egypt to see the new discoveries. And the target of the government is to allow the visitors and the travelers to stay longer nights in Egypt. There are people now who stay for a month. This didn't happen in the past. I mean,
does that mean that 15, let's say that the target is achieved, 15 million visitors would mean 15 billion US dollars necessarily, or even more or less? I don't know, I'm asking you.
I mean, yes, 15 million travelers is $12 billion. The revenue of tourism in the GDP...
we used to say, I remember before, we used to say like 10 million visitors,
$10 billion.
10 billion, yeah. So why are we now saying 15 million visitors, but 12 billion and not 15 billion?
And not 15 billion. The revenue of tourism is like $1 billion a month. So that's the revenue when tourism is booming. So if you multiply 1 billion by 12 is $12 billion a year. That's the revenue, or that's the share of tourism in the GDP of Egypt.
Right.
And this is huge.
So the visitor spends on average $1,000.
Yes, average.
Is this increasing or decreasing?
It's still there, because I mean the $12 billion we talk about it like last year and the year before. So it's still the same. So $12 billion from the GDP is huge. And Egypt has special characteristics. I mean, if you talk about culture tourism, Egypt has culture tourism. If you talk about beach tourism, and 85% of the travelers who travel all over the world are traveling through beach tourism. So we need to focus on beach tourism, and we are now focusing on beach tourism. See Al Alamein Festival. Al Alamein Festival, they turned the death to life, if we can say. It used to be landmines. I mean, it was full of landmines, and now it's safe, and people do festivals in Al Alamein. People are impressed. We have 1 million visitors attended the carnival of Al Alamein last year, and the same number attended this year. So that's amazing. If you remember Al Alamein in the past, there was nothing much there except for a small motel or so. Now it's booming with hotels and travelers, and especially from the Arab world. There are lots of our brothers and sisters from the Arab countries are coming to Al Alamein and spending the night. The good thing about Al Alamein is that they can spend 8 months there, I mean, of the year. It's not only about the festival, it's about spending time. And
why 8 months? Why not 12?
Because of the weather. So the weather is suitable.
Excluding the winter.
I'm excluding the winter period. I'm saying 8 months for people who live. I mean, who can live in Al Alamein. And it's booming in the Arab nations.
Let's say from March to October.
March to October.
Yeah.
From March to October, they can spend the time there, and they can invest.
But even the winter in the North Coast is nice.
Yes.
I'm sure like most of us have been there, even in the winter times.
Yes.
And it's a special experience.
Yes. Before even going to Al Alamein and the North Coast, we used to go to Alexandria in the winter.
Right.
And the North Coast is very attractive in the winter. We used to say, if you are professional in traveling, you go to Alexandria in the winter, and you visit the North Coast in the winter. You know.
Yeah.
And that's.
I didn't know that you said this in your field. Yeah.
Yes. And it's amazing. Back to Al Alamein, there are lots of things that can be done. I mean, not only the beach tourism, but also we can do charter flights from Al Alamein to Luxor, and from Al Alamein to Cairo, for instance. And
the
this
idea
way,
again of combining beach tourism with cultural tourism. Something that has already been done in cities like Hurghada and Sharm el-Sheikh,
yes.
where museums have been opened there.
Yes, museums have been opened in Sharm el-Sheikh, the Sharm el-Sheikh Museum, to combine the cultural tourism with the beach tourism. And this is where the idea came from. Now, they can combine the cultural tourism to the beach tourism by allowing the travelers who come to El Alamein to attend the festival. We're talking million. If you imagine those million, and they are good spenders. I mean, they are good spenders as well. So that will be refreshing tourism and enriching the archaeological sites.
Right. Now, the goals of the Ministry of Tourism is to raise the number of tourists to 30 million by the year 2028. 30 million. That's almost doubling in the next 4 years. My question is, what do we need to do to reach this target?
We need marketing, more marketing, webinars. We need to tell the world we are here and we are ready to accommodate the people. We just marketing. I used to watch the CNN in the past and or channels that are I mean in foreign countries, and they used to have ads of Egypt all the time. So those ads, I don't see them anymore. We need more advertisement in the channels that reach, because the word of mouth is very important. So we need both the word of mouth and we need channels to have advertisement. We need marketing, more marketing. If we did webinars, and I'm going to tell you in a hurry about a webinar I made for a school, and I was not convinced with the webinar, but then I was amazed that by this webinar the whole school came and visited Egypt. So imagine what can happen when you do webinars for the people.
Right. But isn't it true as well? I mean, whenever this logical idea of the importance of marketing in the world of tourism comes up, a question, I ask myself a question: isn't it a fact that the name Egypt itself, you know, markets itself by itself? I'm not saying that we don't need to market ourselves, but I mean the name Egypt,
it's a brand.
Yeah.
Egypt is a brand now.
Right.
And the name Egypt is bringing us the number of travelers that you just mentioned. But if we want more, we need to do more marketing, and we need to open new markets. I mean, if people go to a beach and enjoy it, they can come every year. That would be their holiday. But they won't go to Luxor every year. You know,
it's true.
So we need to focus on beach tourism, and we have crystal clear beaches in the North Coast and the Red Sea, but and it's still virgin. I mean, the North Coast. People like to see new things, so we need to focus on beach tourism. And if we did focus on beach tourism, I think tourism will be booming in Egypt. And we're not just saying it. Look at the countries that are on the other side of the Mediterranean, like Italy and Spain.
And even on our side, I think Tunisia is doing a very good job. Morocco,
yes.
I think.
So I think we just need to work hard on that and I mean focus on beach tourism, because this is a big market that we can target, and they can come and enjoy, and especially now that there is infrastructure that is still there. I mean, infrastructure in the North Coast, hotels, motels, there is lots of options that they can do, and the activities. I believe that this carnival, this festival that they do in Al Alamein is a big advertisement for Egypt. I mean, it puts Egypt on the map, and it puts Al Alamein on the map.
It is. But as you mentioned, most of the visitors, naturally, because we have like singers in Arabic language and so on, so most of them from the Arab world, and of course most of them are domestic tourism.
Yeah.
So here my question is about the importance of domestic tourism. Domestic tourism would serve all the goals of foreign tourism, with the exception, of course, of providing foreign currency, but it would serve the other goals, creating direct and indirect job opportunities. And so on.
The domestic tourism is very important, and it creates sustainability. Sustainability is all about domestic tourism. And if we targeted And I can see it, and I'm very happy to see it now, that the travelers would prefer to go to Al Alamein or to the North Coast than going abroad, than going in any other country. I mean, if we targeted, let's say, the 6-7 million Egyptians who travel in the summer, and we target them as domestic tourists.
Is that an official number?
I mean,
or a rough figure?
That you gave? Rough figure.
Because I think it's lower than that. I mean, 6-7 million?
I mean, out of 110 million, you have almost 6 million.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking you. I mean, is this the number that you have? Like,
no, it's not an official number, but I'm just saying, let's say, that whatever the number is, if we targeted this, and we targeted also Egyptians who want to travel to different destinations, and they became good potential for the North Coast, especially with the projects of Ras Al Hikmah that's been working now. It will be booming. I mean, the project of Ras Al Hikmah,
right.
And I'm sure you get phone calls from people in the real estate who are trying to advertise the North Coast now.
Very true.
It's really going to be, I mean, helpful for domestic tourism.
And also, but what about the pricing? I mean, the prices. I mean, for a certain sector of society, the prices are okay. But for in the North Coast, let's say.
Yeah.
But for a large sector of the Egyptian society, prices are high, very high.
That's true. That's true. But that will take time because it's still a new destination. So that's why the prices are high. But for our friends and families from the Gulf countries, this is not high prices at all.
Right.
I mean, they come and they enjoy, and to them this is not. This is less than what they pay if they went to
Europe
or in different countries.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So, but for the Egyptians, but there is also different categories. I mean, you don't have to go and stay in luxurious hotels. There are small motels there and small hotels.
Yeah, the reason I mentioned this point, because I was asking about what you think is the best strategy that those investors in the field of tourism should take, is target the higher
upper middle class.
The upper middle class, the middle class, the small percentage that can spend easily, say, in Al Alamein. I mean, what would bring the best profits and the best to the industry at large?
I mean, give them time. I mean, it's still a new project, and it's still a new city, a virgin city. But I'm sure within a couple of years, there will be, and now there are some hotels and motels that are not expensive. You don't have to.
In Al Alamein?
In Al Alamein. In Al Alamein, there are. You can rent an apartment. You can rent. And in the area of Ras Al Hikmah itself, there is varieties of motels. I've just seen a show on TV of promoting, a guy was promoting for his kind of village in Ras Al Hikmah, and people are enjoying the vacation there.
Okay. What about the balance between attracting foreign tourism and domestic tourism? How should the balance be struck?
I mean, foreign tourism will be attracted by all what the government is doing. And as you said, Egypt by itself is a brand. And it's
but
always...
you said we need more marketing.
More marketing to achieve the target. The brand of Egypt achieved what we have now. But we need more marketing to increase to the 30 million travelers that we want by the year 2028, as you kindly mentioned.
Which strategies would you recommend when it comes to marketing? Which forms of marketing should we use?
Well, we should use webinars. Webinars is very important. As I was just saying that, I mean, you do a webinar to the school and then the whole school comes and visits the country. So we do webinars, it's very important. And we do ads, like television shows and ads. I used to see that all the time in foreign televisions, but I don't see it anymore.
You want to see the...
I want to see marketing, more marketing. So that will help in increasing the number of the visitors who will come here. I happened to have a friend of mine, he's a pilot, and he was working here in Egypt. As a matter of fact, he was working as an attaché as a
From which country
the
is he
United
from?
States.
Okay.
And he called me and he said how it's going and what have you, and then he said he wants to go to Al Alamein. He have seen Al Alamein flying. He works
Really?
for, yeah, he retired and he's working for or flying for another airlines. And while he was flying, he have seen the towers of Al Alamein, and he said he wants to go and spend time in Al Alamein, and supposed to be this summer that he will bring his family to Al Alamein. He didn't say I want to go to Luxor. He didn't say I want to go to, not that Luxor is kept to the bottom of the list, but I mean that means he was impressed.
Yeah,
I was very
course.
happy with the phone call, and that gives a good impression.
Absolutely.
The other thing is Alexandria. Imagine, and as I told you, sir, I've been working for 30 years. There are some tour operators who sell Egypt because of Alexandria included in the program. In other words, they do the cruise and they do Cairo and they do Alexandria. I asked them, why did you travel with this company in particular? And they answer, because this was the only one that had Alexandria. Imagine.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Imagine.
Yeah, I mean, Alexandria is beautiful in every way you can think of.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes.
And finally, and this is your area, and I'm sure Alexandria is part of this. Egypt occupies the World Heritage List with 7 archaeological sites. So I'm sure Alexandria has some of them. So how can we benefit from those? I mean, 7 archaeological
World Heritage Sites.
Yeah, World Heritage Sites.
We can advertise that as well, as like it's Wadi Hitan and St. Catherine, Abu Simbel, Luxor, Thebes. So
Old Cairo.
Old Cairo. So we just need to promote. I mean, again, marketing. We promote that we have 7 sites of the World Heritage Site. Imagine that Memphis includes Memphis, Dahshur, Saqqara, and Giza. This is Memphis. All of this is a World Heritage Site.
Alexandria itself.
Alexandria.
I mean, the city of Alexander the
Yes,
Great should by itself
is quite
a heritage
something.
site. Yeah.
Yes.
Dear viewers, that's all the time we have here. We're still going to watch a report, though. Don't go away. We still have a very interesting report again about this key industry of tourism here in Egypt and the beauty of Egypt. So as you watch this report and before you watch it, on behalf of you, we thank very much our dear guest with us here in the studio, Dr. Amra Atef,
Thank you, sir.
The tourism expert and holder of PhD in Sustainable Heritage Tourism. Always a great pleasure to have you with us, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
It's
Dr.
my pleasure.
Atef. And thank you, dear viewers, for watching the debate. Don't go away. We still have this report by our dear colleague, Manal Al-Ibyari.
Egypt attracted a record-breaking 7.069 million tourists between January and June 2024, compared to 7.062 million tourists in the same period last year. The figure surpassed the 6.9 million tourists recorded in the peak year of 2010, according to a report on inbound tourism received by Minister of Tourism and Antiquities, Sherif Fathi. According to the report, tourism nights also reached unprecedented levels, totaling 70.2 million, up from 67.6 million nights recorded in 2023 and 65.7 million nights in 2010. Egypt's tourism revenues in the first half of 2024 reached $6.6 billion, compared to $6.3 billion in 2023 and $5.6 billion in 2010. Minister Fathi attributed this growth to the successful implementation of Egypt's national tourism strategy, which focuses on expanding the capacity of the tourism sector. This includes increasing the number of incoming flight seats and hotel rooms to accommodate more tourists and enhance their experience. The strategy aims to attract 30 million tourists by 2028. The report also praised the periodic monitoring of tourism indicators and figures, which is part of the Ministry's efforts to attract tourists from targeted markets and boost the overall performance of the tourism sector. The year 2023 marked a milestone in Egypt's tourism history, recording the highest number of inbound tourists at 14.906 million, surpassing the previous peak of 14.731 million tourists in 2010.